I think we have some classes. Let me find out. Either I'll get back to you or Tyler will. Just give you a call and see what we can do. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. We're just going to let you know we're going to give it just a minute or so in case there's anybody late coming here in person or onto the online feed. So just like a minute or so, and then we'll get started. So resume your conversation. Oh, is this not on? Is this not on? Is it, now it's on? Okay. Hold it very close. We're going to start in about 1 minute. Okay, I think we're going to get started. For those of you I haven't yet met, my name is Tim Seidel. I'm the Vice President for University Advancement here at Eastern Oregon University. A few months ago, I had the pleasure and the honor of serving on the search committee for the Grande new city manager. And we had some great conversations about the connection between the university and the community. And when John got here, he sought us out, and we had a tour around campus and several meetings. And one of the topics that came up was that maybe we could host a town hall up here on campus. And we said, absolutely, we've got some great space to do it. And we're happy to have John here and give the town hall and get it all set up and stream it. And thanks to our AV folks to help support it. But with that, we're very delighted to have John here and turn it over to him to do the town hall.
Every time, can't help it. Every time. You with me or? Come on. Some energy. Need some energy.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. Can you hear me okay, or do you prefer I use the microphone? What are you saying? Use the microphone? Yeah. Okay. All right. I promise I'm not going to sing. That would actually hurt everybody's ears. I'm excited about what's going on for the evening. I'm sorry, got my mind distracted for a second. Excited for everybody to be here this evening and for the opportunity for us to be able to get to know each other a little bit better and to share a lot of great things that are happening, I think, in La Grande. In fact, the song kind of coins it. It really is all happening here. And I'm excited about what that means for right now and what it's going to mean for the future. So thank you again, both online and in the room for it. A little bit of a look into what you can expect to come from tonight would be this agenda. I won't read it to you, but bottom line is this is the topics that I'm planning on covering with you guys tonight. Unless anybody has any questions on that, I'll keep moving forward. All right, so the purpose of this. The whole reason why I wanted to get together with the community, there was nothing, I didn't assess anything coming into the job, getting the impression that there wasn't a good community here or that there wasn't great things already happening here. But I did feel as though when we started to realize, or I started to realize some of the problems, or I didn't say problems, challenges that are occurring within the city, that as we traverse implementing any kind of new solutions to that if we reach a point in time where we have to ask the community for any assistance in regards to that, well, when we get to that point, I would argue it's too late. And so the intent is for us to be able to share with you what our plans are, what we're planning to work on. If you have a thought or an opinion on that, that you have the opportunity to help shape and form that while we're moving towards whatever it is that we're moving towards. So that you have an active voice, that you can absolutely feel heard, that you're a part of helping to develop the solutions if you decide to be, and at the same time be able to actually have a transparent and true assessment of how well we're doing in regards to the work that we said that we're going to do. And so not just this is going to be kind of just sitting the roadmap out ahead. We're not at the point yet where we can offer a full assessment of where we're at the moment, but I can show you the roadmap that we're setting up for the direction that we're going, and we're going to get into a soft introduction of that this evening. But before we do, and the whole purpose behind all of that is to make sure that you're heard and to make sure that you can trust the organization that you've employed to be able to bring you the services that you deserve as a community, that you want and need as a community. With that being said, the most important part that we're going to do here tonight, I would have to argue, is talking about community recognition. One of the things that I've found over the course of my career is most organizations don't do a very good job of telling the story about either themselves as an organization so that the community can be fully aware of all the things that are going on that are good within the organization, as well as the challenges that we're facing. But more importantly, is this community has a lot of great people doing a lot of great things within the community, and I think there's probably been some efforts. I'm not trying to say that anything has been insufficient before, but what I know is from the city's perspective, we want to take time to make sure that we're recognizing people in the community and some of our employees that are doing great things. And so with that being said, we're going to invite some people up for us to be able to talk a little bit about it. Ms. Grande, are you in the room? I think you are. Oh, yeah. Would you mind standing up for me? Grande nominated the Arts Commission. Would you be willing to talk about that?
I just think they've done outstanding work. Little by little, adding some brightness to our community, and I think they've done a good job. They've also made a new long-term plan that is ambitious and refreshing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So ultimately, Stu, would you come up here for a second? Or you can stay right here.
That's okay, I'm on it.
Ultimately, what we've started to do too is we're generating different forms of appreciation for everybody. So here on behalf of the Arts Commission, by nomination of Ms. Dutto, we would like to say thank you to the Arts Commission.
I'll pass it on. The reason he brought me up is because I'm the city liaison to the Art Commission, so it's one of my programs, so they're doing great work.
I probably should have said that.
Yeah.
Brent, would you come up for a second? All right, so similarly, Corinne, I'll come over to you if you don't mind. She also recommended Brent for this recognition as well, so I'm going to give her a chance to talk about that as well.
In this day and age, it's really hard to get good information locally about our local community, and Brent is amazing at with his TV show and with all of his postings on the internet, and I think it really is a great way for our community to keep in touch with each other. It's easy to get into our silos and not know what our neighbor is doing, especially in this kind of digital age, and I really appreciate it, Brent.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to thank my mom.
Drop the mic.
I think you have the next one as well.
I do.
Yeah.
Was I the only one?
Elkhorn Media, I think there's somebody here to represent for them as well.
Yeah, so this is along the same lines. Elkhorn Media, both in all of their avenues, really give us pretty timely local information of what's going on that you just don't find anywhere else. And I think that's really important for community.
Thank you. All right. I think that might have been your last one. I did this one. So for the Library Commission, ultimately, let's see. All right, so the staff at Cook Memorial, you guys can read this, right? When it comes right down to what I can tell you is that the Library Commission that we have is really a group of passionate people that really love this community and love the opportunity to be on the commission. And they do a lot of work to try and help make this library the best library that it can be. And that I believe that work effort is probably unrealized within the community, and how much they don't have to be on this commission. It's all voluntary. So the fact that they're there and they stay there and they're doing what they're doing to make it the library. If you have a chance to go down there and see what they have there, it's a pretty amazing library. I'm not just saying it because it's ran by the city. It actually is, of all the libraries I think I've ever been at, it's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, other than maybe, you know, that big one in DC. But there isn't anybody here from the oh, I'm sorry. It's not. I think we have to click on it. Okay. Ricky, Jody, go ahead.
Okay, so about 50 years ago, Linda Williams moved to the Grande in order for her kids to go to college, and also so that they could go cross-country skiing every single weekend. And then just over 30 years ago, Linda found herself ill, and she was dealing with that, and as she was dealing with that, a whole bunch of donations started coming in that she realized she had no use for. So Linda, in turn, decided to start giving back to the community, and that is what she has been doing for over 3 decades. Linda collects items from individuals and organizations. She shelves and organizes them and gives them to folks in need. And I remember, oh, excuse me, I remember how life-changing it was for me the first time I met Linda. I was a teenager in a single-parent home, and I was judged, called white trash, and Linda was so gracious and kind and loving. Oh, excuse me. And it was in that moment that I learned that community isn't built by people telling you what to do or telling you how to behave. Community is built by being an example and giving back. Whew, sorry, excuse me. And from that interaction, that's what kind of drove me to become a person who would give back to my community as well. Linda recently had a house fire. Fortunately, no animals or people were hurt in that house fire. However, every single item that she had collected and gathered was lost. And so now she has nothing to give back to the community. And she is asking that we hold off on bringing in donations while the house is being repaired because she's not quite ready to start storing again. But if you know people who are willing to donate and give items back to the community, please, please, please do your best to give it to Linda, because Linda gives graciously and without judgment. She continues to give to this day by delivering food to Oasis, by driving students to Head Start every single school day, twice a day at least, and always giving back to the community when they are in need. It is my honor and privilege to recognize Linda this evening. Linda, thank you so much.
Okay, all right, for Lions International, as I've started to integrate more and more into to the community, I've had a lot of opportunity to, I think you're here, right? Where'd you, there you are, come on, you mind coming up? Remind me your last name again?
Wilson.
Wilson. Mr. Wilson is the president for the Lions Club, and agreed to come down and accept on behalf of the Lions Club. I can speak a little bit to the degree of what the Lions Club brings to the community, but bottom line is their membership spends a lot of time committing various different either time donations or resource type donations to the community in order to help improve. It's just an expanded sense of community service. I can't speak to the long history of it, but what I can say is you guys are doing a lot. And from my perspective, I wanted to make sure that the Lions Club knew that the city itself appreciates everything that you guys do to contribute. And so thank you. Michael and Melissa Shepard, are you here? Shepherds? Here you are. Okay, there you are. Let's do it. Stu, do you mind speaking to this?
Sure. Thank you. So the Shepherds, next slide, back. You got it? Yep. The Shepherds have been volunteering in this community a long time. And for Parks and Rec, my department, they just started relatively recently, but it's magical because the story walks at the parks at Bernie Park. Have you seen the little story walk boards in the Riverside Park along the trail? These folks right here, the Shepherds, are really responsible for all that happens with those. Every month they go out and switch out book pages. They help contribute financially. And while they're out in the parks, why not pull invasive weeds and pick up dog poop and litter along the way, right? So I think they were inspired by their dog, which is my favorite part of the story. And Carrie really has a long-term relationship with them at the library. And just now, I haven't even met them in person, but there they are.
Seroptimus in the house. There you are. You want to come up for a second? I have to say, from my perspective, my first experience with the Seroptimus organization was an invitation to one of their meetings, and this for me was the first time I'd ever heard of them. So I'm like, I knew nothing about them. It was weird, but when I got there. The conversation that we ended up having back and forth, they allowed me to come and talk about just a little bit about who I was, and then share with them where my head was at in regards to the organization initially. And we just ended up having, I thought, an incredible conversation. And I found myself wildly impressed with Seroptimus. And I'd heard they're one of these amazing local organizations that contributes back into the community significantly, but I had no real understanding of that until the end of November. And I had the opportunity to go to the Festival of Trees. And I was there for the bulk of the evening, if not all of it. And it was, again, amazing to watch what was going on. And more importantly, I think to see all the people that were in the crowd and how enthusiastic and excited they were to support this organization because of all the great things that you guys do. And when it comes right down to it, there's a lot of, I can't speak to the statistics, but what I know is there's a lot of women who are getting the opportunity to go to college and get degrees that they wouldn't probably have otherwise have gotten if it wasn't for what Sir Optimus does to help make that possible for them, let alone a whole plethora of other things that are going on in the community that your organization donates money to in order to help the community be the best that it can be. And so it was absolutely important to make sure that we recognized you and said thank you for everything that you do. She isn't in here right now.
Oh, okay, I
That's
also wanted to point out, Carrie Bushman is a Sir Optimist. I'm new to the club, this is, I believe, going on my third year. However, I was amazed at what they do and the scope of what they do, including contributing to the operating room at the hospital, the backpack program, boots and socks for kids, educational advancement both for women who are single with children and for women seeking higher education. So the list goes on and on. And right now we're in a year where we have approximately $40,000 to put into a capital improvement project. We're taking applications now from members. To my knowledge, there's only one, but this is how far we reach. It was for floating docks in Morgan Lake. So, the scope of this organization is unreal. And Stewie will probably be talking. But thank you. But Carrie is a Sir Optimist, so.
Carrie, our library director.
Yes.
Okay, so what we wanted to also include in was a couple of our, in close proximity to this event, we also do an internal all hands where we make sure that we're taking time out to recognize some of our personnel for accomplishments or just simply being amazing employees. We're not going to bring you every one of them that we're going to list out tomorrow, although it will be a broadcast, so if you want to watch it online, you're welcome to. But we wanted to give you at least a couple of them here this evening. I think one of them is not here with us. With that being said, Corrine, if you wouldn't mind speaking one more time. Stu, you can stand up.
Oh, sorry, hi. I was busy working. I'm gonna come over to you, okay?
You can come over me. Stu's just done so much for our community in, I don't know how long you've been here, 10 years or so? 11.5. But in this last year, the playground project at Riverside comes to mind, and that was a huge project involving lots of community members and lots of fundraising and probably lots of grief and lots of organizing, and I think the community really loves it. He's added a dog park. He's worked on the storyboards and extending the path at Riverside. Kind of cleaned up our parks, make sure everything is safe there. Keeps the pool running, which I always appreciate. And there's just all sorts of little things. And the parks are really they're for adults, but they're really for our kids, and I really appreciate that that effort and getting the community involved to help you with that too. Yeah, it's all good stuff. He's always got something going on.
Thank you, Stu.
Yes, you're welcome.
So our next one was actually nominated by Stu as well. You're welcome to talk to her if you'd like, Stu.
I'll just do a brief and then we'll do more tomorrow at the all hands. But Tammy's been, she's relatively new in HR and she's just transformed support for staff. So I just want to recognize that she works really hard to make our job easier as directors and city staff. So thank you, Tammy.
Okay, now you get into the part where you get to hear me talk most of the time, so I apologize up front. We're going to get into some city updates. What you see here in front of you is a draft. And we're going to get into more detail. I apologize, I'm going to move around a little bit while we're talking, if you guys are all right with that. This is what I'd say is we're trying to frame what it is that we're trying to deal with in regards to our challenges going forward. And one of the things that I learned really quickly when I came into the position was that the organization has done an amazing job for the 17 years before I arrived and more in building out fiscal responsibility and doing the right thing the best way that they can. While at the same time, and we'll talk about it a little bit more further forward, there's some problems that are very real that we have to deal with. And so I want to be able to talk about that a little bit and make sure that the community is aware of it, and then at least have a general understanding of what we're trying to do to address that and deal with it going forward. Especially as we're entering into the budget season. I've left it over here. And then ultimately, what I also have up here is what our desired end state is. All these slides we can make available to you. I'm not expecting you to read everything that's up there right now, but the bottom line is what this says is what we want to do is transform the way that we're doing business into a way that's fiscally sustainable and does the best that it can possibly do. Not that it hasn't been historically, but going forward continues to do the best that we can do for the service to the community that the community says that it wants, that it deserves, as well as making sure that we're taking care of the employees that are providing that service as we move forward. And those two things are very important to me to make sure that they stay in balance. I don't want the community to think, feel, or believe that the employees that work for us are more important than the community that they serve. But I also don't want the community to think that it's more important than the employees that are providing that service. And it's a really hard balance to find because depending on any given day and the particular problem that might be occurring, one might have a different perception in that. And I'm going to strive to make sure that everybody remembers it's not just about you, it's about a bigger picture. And so at the end of all of this, when we're done with the efforts that we're going to put in, my desire is to make sure that we strike that balance, we serve well, and we can make it sustainable well into the future, long after I'm retired, and make it some other city manager's problem. So we've actually entered into the fiscal year 27 budget season. If you're not aware, the fiscal year for cities, or at least for LeGrande, is from July 1 to June 30th of every year. And so we're in the budget build season right now. In fact, a little plug, if you want to watch on the 26th, 27th, and possibly the 28th of January, we have our budget retreat that will be streaming as well. So you're welcome to either show up to see it, or in fact, we might even have food there for you to eat if you decide to come out. But if you aren't present, at the very least, you'll be able to see it online. Coming out of that retreat, we're going to be setting our priorities for the year. And one of the things that I'm hoping to lead the City Council to conclude at the end of that is that we will agree to constructing a 5-year to 10-year strategic plan that I'm calling the Fiscal Transformation Initiative. Within that fiscal transformation initiative, that 5-year strategic plan is going to be what I'm calling it's an escalation framework that I'm calling PACE-E. And PACE-E stands for Primary, Alternate, Contingency, Emergency, and Extra Emergency. And the reason why we're using this framework to reference is so that as we have these community town halls, or if we do any ad hoc town halls, which is if you decide to invite me to come out to a location that you want me to come out, whether there's 1 of you, or 5 of you, or 100 of you, I will go where you are in order to make sure that I'm going where people need to know what's going on. Simultaneously, we're going to be doing some other things, but I'll get to that in a minute, to help with that information flow. But going back to the PACE escalation framework, what that is primary stands for the way that we're going, the effort that we're going to put in, the primary effort that we're going to put in order to affect this fiscal transformation that needs to occur. What it comes down to is that over our history, when it comes to our budget, we've been able to, Oregon law requires us to budget a very specific way. When it comes to forecasting expenses, we have to forecast a specific way. And when it comes to forecasting revenues, we have to forecast a specific way. The science within that is that we have to forecast what we believe we're going to expend and what those costs are going to be, and then we have to create a budget that makes sure that it can fund those things that can be done. Common sense, right? The problem is that if we actually do everything that we say that we're going to do, it's actually we're not going to have the money to cover it based on the revenues that are coming in. And so, fortunately, historically, we've been able to cover those costs on the idea that if we do reach that amount, then we can tap into, for simplistic reasons, I'll say, we can tap into what's called savings. We can tap into savings to cover those costs, and historically the council has agreed to allow that solution to be the solve if we should find ourselves in that situation. But because of the fact that we struggle to be able to get up to full staff, as well as any other number of other areas that we program the intent to spend money, life happens and it sometimes causes us not to do what we said we were going to do, like get to 100% full staffing. When that happens, the money that actually doesn't end up getting spent that's what ends up going into savings. And we put that into savings, and we've been able to build up. The city's done an outstanding job of building up our money that's in that savings account. So ultimately going forward, what I'm going to propose to the council is for us to be able to change the way we're doing business. The desire of the council was for me to immediately reach a point in time where I can balance the budget right now and not allow that science of understanding in regards to the budget to be the coverage that we're talking about in order to save it. So what that would mean is that one way or another, I'd have to cut services that you're already receiving in one way, shape, or form. We would diminish what you're already getting. Speaking with my staff, the one thing that they firmly think, feel, and believe is that they're doing the best they can with what they have, and I assess that is true. What I can also say is they also assess that it's not enough. All of them want to do more and do better, but the money that they have to do what they're doing already is absolutely the best that they can do. An example that I'll provide to you is the streets and roads. I'm guessing that everybody that's here and online probably thinks and feels that we have the best roads in all of Oregon. What? What are you laughing about? What I can say is in all reality, we know we don't. Last year, Kyle's here with us, and he'll speak again. I think a little bit later. Kyle, our Public Works Director, he would tell you that last year, and I would agree with him, even though I wasn't here the whole year. Last year was a banner year in regards to us getting streets and roads accomplished. What I can tell you is that didn't even, what you saw happen wasn't even 5% of the streets and roads that need to be maintained, repaired, or redone. It's probably close to 5%, but probably wasn't 5%. That being said, the only reason why he was able to do that is because we had what's called ARPA funds coming in outside of our normal resource capabilities in order to be able to fund that level of effort. The fact that that is true made it so they could do what they could do last year. What I can tell you is they have, what, about $1 million left over of that right now? About $1 million left over from that, which is maybe 1% of the streets? Yeah, so maybe 1% of the streets now is left over from ARPA. So now we have to go back to our normal way of funding. Let me rephrase that. When they did what they did last year, we used what we normally would forecast, and we included ARPA into it, correct? And so going forward, now we have to go back to just our normal way of doing business, use up what's left over from ARPA funds, and then we're right back into the same cycle that we were before. Which ultimately means, in that particular situation, what that ultimately means is you've got to wait 20 years or more likely more, before a street might very well be fixed. A street that we could probably all stand on and agree completely together is not adequate or sufficient and absolutely needs to be addressed, let alone any number of other problems that might fall into that arena that I think needs to be addressed. I hesitate to say that we're going to do anything about it at this point, but what I will say is we are very aware of the sidewalk problem and the curbside problem. And so we want to work to develop solutions in partnership with the community that helps bring those different problems to a conclusion to help us in the grander picture. So why did I go off on that tangent when I'm talking about PACE E? The goal would be that in that primary solution set that we bring to the table would be for us to be able to do this fiscal transformation that makes it so we don't have to cut services, and that not only not cut them, but we can actually improve the services that we're providing and it be sustainable over time. Not just something we can do a quick surge to, but over time be able to do it. We're going to build the plan out to make it so that we can do it in that primary effort. There will also be triggers within that primary effort that would make it so if we're not getting the effect that we wanted from the primary effort, that we go into alternate. Same thing, if we can't get the effect that we're looking for from the alternate, then we go into the contingent. Now, the goal, for the most part, in that primary, alternate, and contingency is to do everything we can do with what we have already without asking the community to come to the table with more. And along that path, keeping all of you aware of where we're at in regards to executing that plan and our effectiveness at executing that plan, so that you know real time that we're doing the best that we can, and not only doing the best that we can, you know where we're succeeding and you know where we're maybe not succeeding, and what the reasons are that we're going to escalate to the next level, or the next level of the framework. Because when we get to that emergency and or that extra emergent stage, that's where my recommendation to the council is going to be that we have to come back to the community and say, hey, look, we can't get there from here. We need to be able to actually solve the fiscal problem that we have, and the only way we're going to be able to do that without cutting services, assuming you don't want services cut, the only way we're going to be able to do that is to either bring a new levy to the equation or establish a special district. And our goal is to keep that from happening. But also at the same time, our goal is, above all else, is to make sure you're getting the service that you want and that you need, and that we have the resources to make it happen without having to cut something else in order to give you something that you need. I don't feel like, when I speak to my leadership staff and senior team, none of them on their own, like they all have this, they beat themselves up horribly because they want to do more and they want to do better for the community, but they're all at bandwidth and they're all resource constrained. And so in order to give all of you what is, you're right, I need water. In order to give the community what it deserves and what we want for it, then we need to make sure that we have the resources to be able to provide that. And I got to tell you, like, I don't mean to imply that the community is not united by saying what I'm about to say, but what I can say is part of all of this effort of what we're doing is because I want to unite, I want to help the community truly unite, to work together to bring about the solution that the community wants to have. Let the community define what they want, let them know and understand how it is, what is required for us to get there, and then let's agree on the path forward together on how we're going to do that. And what I'm positive of is that a united LeGrande working towards that problem will actually become a beacon of light for all of Eastern Oregon to be an example of what a united community, a truly united community looks like. And I believe wholeheartedly that I actually believe, my personal beliefs leaves me at a place where I believe that's who we're supposed to be as a community. And I'm going to do everything I can to help do that, barring the community come back and saying, man, you're crazy. All right, so I apologize. I tend to talk a lot. Does anybody have any questions on that?
John, maybe explain what a special district is real quick.
So a special district would be, we could be any number of different areas of service that we currently provide. An example could be the library, the Parks and Rec, not together, separately, Parks and Recreation, or even public safety. What you do is they become a special taxing district. So then what would happen is instead of our taxes that are coming into the general fund covering the cost in order to be able to provide that service, the establishment of a special district would make it so it would have its own funding source. And the advantage to that circumstance is it's arguably a disadvantage to the community because your taxes will go up. It's an advantage to the city in that it relieves the pressure that's on the general fund. And so right now, the pressure that's on the general fund isn't anything that's in any serious danger immediately. But what I will say is if we keep doing business the way we're doing it right now, it's reasonable to assume that in 3 to 5 years from now, we're going to have no choice but to cut services. And so what I'm intending to do is to ask the city council, instead of us worrying about balancing the budget perfectly right now, but that with this plan in place and the ability to see that we're doing what we say we're going to do, to be able to implement the solution sustainably so that we don't have to have those special districts and use the money that's in savings to help put the framework in place. And I apologize, I'm kind of going on a tangent here. When I look at how we're organized as a city right now, we have I'll use this as an example, an economic development division. In our economic development division, back in 1999, the city authored and implemented, some of you probably know and remember this or lived through it yourselves, implemented an urban renewal agency with a very visionary and aspirational plan to accomplish really good and wonderful things for the community in order to bring more revenue into the city based off of that. I would say, all right, so there's that plan that was put in place. Simultaneously, they put in place a plan a few years later, an overall economic development plan. And it's, again, another very aspirational, very visionary, good document for to have. And one way or another, the council at the time and the community appears to obviously have approved that and put it into action. What I can say is my assessment, and I don't mean this as an indictment of anything that happened before, but we took two very visionary plans, put them into, and said this is what we're going to accomplish, and then we created a single position to be able to affect both of those plans. And what I mean by single position is the Urban Renewal Agency pays 75% of the cost to affect the urban renewal priorities that's in that plan. General fund pays 25% of the cost to have the position. So that means the person in the position, the one person in the position, 75% of their time is supposed to be spent on urban renewal, and 25% of their time is supposed to be spent on economic development. What I can say is, again, going back to the beginning of my conversation, or my statement to you, it's amazing to me what this city has gotten accomplished, considering how, what I would argue, under-resourced those plans were in order to affect the plan that we wanted to. We've got great results, amazing results, all things considered. And I know there might be differences of opinion on that, but the city's done a great job bringing in additional revenue through both of those plans, considering that they've only put one resource to affect those plans. Now, there's partnerships in that. I'm not trying to belittle all the partnerships, but I call those force multipliers. When you use those partnerships, you can take one position and make it much more effective based on those partnerships. But at the end of the day, what I know is that if we were to, I believe with great confidence, through this plan that we would implement, that if we build out and construct the framework of the economic development type of team that we need to do what we said we were going to do, not to mention we need to update the plan. The plan itself is almost 16 years old or more. The economic one, the urban renewal one, we're actually, part of our plan is going to include some level of what sunsetting urban renewal is going to look like as well. But there's a lot to figure out about that. And then maybe even the potential of standing up another one. But what I'm getting at is all of that together, I believe that if we resource all of our revenue generating areas of responsibility of service to the community, if we resource it to do the work that we want it to do aggressively, with the way to scale it back if it turns out that it's failing simplistically, but the ability to scale it back simplistically, that gives us the opportunity to generate the kind of revenue that we need in order to be able to keep all of this sustainable without bringing additional taxes back to the community. But what I can say is if we don't solve the problem through one of these veins that I'm talking about, then we're going to be left with no choice but to come back and ask the community. But what I know with confidence is that I can't look all of you in the face and say we did the best we can if I waited till the moment came where I'm asking you for a new tax to say, hey, we got a problem we need to solve. So I'm intending on making sure that we have these town hall meetings so that you'll have an opportunity. And I'm going to get into a little bit of that here in just a second. I promise you, these other ones shouldn't take as long to talk about, barring the questions you ask. Okay. So one of the going into what I just said, I'm planning on meeting with you on a routine basis in order to be able to give you the opportunity to know and understand real time what the reality is going on within the city. One of the things, when I was going through my interview process, this might have been the thing that kind of clinched the hook and that they decided that they were going to actually take a chance on me. I talked about a similar platform to this that we used in the life that I was in before, that's intended to be able to communicate complex topics simplistically. And so what the intent is we're in the process right now of building out. In our first town hall, I said we're going to build dashboards. Well, this is the first glimpse into what those dashboards are going to look like, but we're a long ways from being done with them. What I can tell you is those dashboards are going to give us the ability to communicate to you possibly four very key things, and it's going to give you the ability to see it from the 50,000 foot view, if that's all you're interested as a community member to see and know and understand. But it's also going to give you the ability to see it from the wave top level, which is a little closer to the reality of it. And then if that's as much as you want to know and understand, then you can stop there. But then we're going to keep developing it out until we get to the point in time where it gets granular, so that if you want to go granular into the details, you can as well. What I can tell you is that if you go to our website right now, and you look at our finance office and go to any of the links on there, you can go in there and pull up all the documents that you could possibly want to know in regards to everything having to do with our budget and finances. What I'm also positive, speaking for myself the first time I looked at it, if you were to go into it, it's overwhelming. The information that's in there is overwhelming. And unless you're a trained person in regards to money and budget, the reality of it is it could leave you feeling overwhelmed. And then, unfortunately, the human mind tends to gravitate towards the negative. And by the negative, what I mean is people will start to assume, because it's so complex, means they're probably hiding something from us. And so what we're trying to do by building out these dashboards for you is so that you can generate on your own opinions in regards to the level of transparency we are, and an easier way to digest and understand what we're doing. The entire intent behind this, from my perspective, is to make it so that the city council, the community, and our employees all understand the same information at the same time, so that everybody can be active participants in the decision-making that's going on. But what I will tell you is, this is a lot of work. And it's not easy to bring to fruition because, I can tell you from the senior staff perspective, let alone the people that are supporting the senior staff, just doing business every day is a lot. Let alone when we have life problems that are occurring in any number of those areas that diminish the number of people we have in office doing the work on a day-to-day basis. But if we were running at perfect optimization, maximum level right now, we're staffed that way because that's so we can just do normal business. Let alone when you have somebody like John, the good idea fairy, coming in the office and saying, hey, let's build an entirely new program. And so the effort is hard, and it's going to take a little bit of time to be able to bring out. But I believe that with time, everybody's going to see the value of it, not just me, the city manager, but the city council and the community. And the messaging is going to be consistent and the same everywhere that we go. You're never going to, if you ever catch me saying something that's inconsistent, I promise you I'm going to own it instantaneously. I encourage you to call me out on it. But I'm creating this to keep me consistent. I keep forgetting I leave this over here. All right, so does anybody have any thoughts or questions on that? I realize this isn't really, just putting a picture up here isn't probably explaining it. Ultimately, I guess I told you there was 3 areas that it was going to cover. The 3 things that I'm looking for it to be able to explain simplistically is the quality, the service that we're expecting to be done, to be provided, the amount of money that's resourced to provide to that, and what the quality level of result is supposed to come from that, and the ability for us to be able to say, if we want better, this is how much more it would cost to be able to do that. Simultaneously, we can come back and say, hey, we're not able to do what you're asking us to do because we're not resourced to do it, and I can show you simplistically why that is. It isn't about finding an effective way to say no. It's about finding an effective way to communicate why. That way we can all enter into the problem with the same understanding and work together towards the desired solution, or accept where we're at. Any questions? Okay, so one of the other facets I'm talking about, we're sitting here in this in this auditorium, thank you very much, to talk to you guys and have the community town hall right now. One of the things that I realized is I would argue as wildly as successful as this is, that all of you are here and sitting in the room with us right now. When we did the very first town hall, several people said, if you get 6 people sitting in the room, you're going to be lucky. And when we finished counting last time, we had almost 60 people in the between online and in the room. I'm not sure what we are right now, but what I can say is I'm pretty confident we're over that number. Just by the number that's in the room has already exceeded what we had in the room before. As much as I would love if everybody would just show up, where I said, hey, I'm going to be here and I'm going to be talking and I'm going to explain things to you, and then everybody showed up or they went online, I'd love if that was all we had to do. But what I realize is we're in a time where it doesn't work that way. And so I need to be willing to meet you and meet the community where the community asks me to go, in order to make sure that they're informed. I can't expect everybody to just come to me. So the desire is to create multiple streams of ways to communicate, but the information is going to be consistent in all of those different ways. One of those things that we're going to be rolling out to help with that is going to be a Connect LeGrande app. It's going to give you the opportunity to be able to do business with the city through the app, but it's also going to be the opportunity for you to get notifications from the city in regards to any number of these topics that we're talking about right now. Along with that, we're going to, we're in the process right now of creating a civic engagement on steroids plan that's going to have us being able to communicate out over social media in order to be able to make sure that I'm reaching people there. Because the one thing I know today is that that's where most people are at right now is social media. And so if we're doing that effectively, then we're going to be able to put information out over social media that will be able to give everybody that 50,000 and maybe wave top level awareness of what's going on with the city, so that we can meet you where you are and keep you informed, while at the same time give you the ability to know where to go if you want to go to that granular level in regards to it. Because I'm pretty sure, as long as I'm taking the talk right now, you're not going to want to scroll through social media and listen to me talk for an hour and a half about social media. So that's our current plan. Is we've already retained the rights to do it and we're building it out. Our current plan would be by the time we have the next town hall, would be that we're rolling it out right about then. That's kind of what I guess I got a little ahead of myself. That's what this slide talks about. Bottom line is, if you take anything away from what I'm saying there, is that I am willing to meet you where you want me to meet you. You just got to tell me where it is you want me to meet, and I'll figure out the way to make it happen, whether that's in person or through some form of virtual means. I just need to know where, and I'll make sure you guys are getting the message that you need. And several of my staff members will probably be a part of that and coming out with me when we go out, because the one thing I know is I can't talk Kyle's world nearly as well as Kyle can, but he's already told me he's willing to come with me when the time comes. And so all I need to know is what you want to talk about, and we'll be there. Or if you want me to push something out on social media, we'll push it out on social media. I just established a new John O'Brien Le Grande Facebook page, so feel free to look for me and friend me, and then you'll be able to start seeing these posts come out. I would expect you're going to start seeing stuff come out through the various different social media platforms. The home base for all of it's going to be the Facebook page, but it's going to resonate out into probably Instagram, TikTok, and maybe at least, what is the other one? Is there any others?
Instagram.
Did I say Instagram? Okay. So bottom line is, I realize some people prefer one platform over another. We're not going to change the way we're doing it to meet the algorithms of each of the different platforms, but we're going to make sure that we have maximum opportunity to meet you where you are. Okay, that for the most part covers what I was intending on talking about here today. The future town halls, we're going to continue to stick to, I would ask for you guys to be willing to send to us people that you want recognized within the community, that you know are doing things. Let us know about them, and then we'll make sure that we get the opportunity. We'll invite you, as you saw today, we'll invite you to come, if you're willing to come and speak about the person that you nominate, but we're going to make sure that the people in the community that are doing things get the opportunity to be recognized. And then we'll probably bring a few more employees into it as well. Over on the left side here, on my left, there's two things. One is there's a list of all the streets and roads work that's being planned. Kyle will probably come up and talk a little bit more about it in a second, but you're welcome to take a copy of that, and it'll give you awareness of what streets are planned to be worked on right now in the, next year-ish. What's on there was what was budgeted in this budget year, right? So what's on there is what we were planning to do in this budget year. So barring some changes we can't speak about, but I'll stop talking on that and let you talk about it when you come in. We'll continue to advance the performance dashboards with the intent to ultimately reach a point in time where you're actually getting input back to the community in regards to the different service areas and how we're performing. I'm a little reluctant to say that you'll see that in April, but I'm pretty confident you'll probably see it in the July one. Before we go, there's a couple more slides. You guys will be up in a second. I would like to give my staff the opportunity to talk. If you haven't met, in the room, would you stand up, Stacy? In the room, Stacy, she's our city recorder. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
I do not.
No announcements or anything about people or need to put packets in? Okay, Mike, you got anything?
No, I'll still quick shout out real quick. All the citizens of LaGrande are going to get a postcard in the mail probably this week. And we are doing some housing code amendments where we're kind of falling behind some state law requirements. And so when you get that postcard, there's a lot of information plugged in a little tiny space that doesn't tell you a whole lot. So if you have any questions, we do have that information online. I think there's a link in the postcard, but definitely call my office and I can tell you what's proposed. And you know, a lot of it is changing terminology because you know, we're falling behind. You know, one example is single family is no longer a term anymore. Now it's single household, and so there's a lot of wordage like that in our code that's getting changed. So.
Hey Mike, who are you?
I am the Community Development Director. Thanks, Terry. So anyway, when you get that postcard, if you have any questions, feel free to call and I kind of walk you through what's proposed. And so there's no big shockers or you know, hard items in there, but there is a lot of things. So thank you.
All right. Mike is also responsible not just to the planning, but all of the building code information portfolio falls into his bailiwick as well. He loves when people ask him questions about it. And then Kyle, you got anything?
I can talk about roads, if you want me to talk about roads, or if you want to wait for question and answers, so I can.
Why don't you give the initial, and then you can be for the questions and answers too. That way you can at least give your blast or whatever.
Is there a slide?
Yes.
All right, there's a slide. All right, I'll go up there.
This is the form that's over here on the desk for you.
John, if you want to grab those, I can pass them out.
Or you can.
All right, so
Anybody
at-
want a copy? Anybody want a copy? See that guy over here?
And it's online too, right?
Yeah, it's online too. At Brian's suggestion, we even have like one of these little, these fancy things you can scan and it'll take you right there. So as John mentioned, this is kind of one of his initiatives that he started off. I'm Kyle, I'm the Public Works Director for the City of LaGrande. John wanted us to kind of put up a paving schedule. One of the larger complaints we get is we don't know where you guys are going to be, what you're going to be fixing in the future. We had put that together strategically so we wouldn't show up at our sites and sit there while we're trying to pave a road and drag over new asphalt, but John said it will be done, so it's done. As he said, most of the roadways up top are the budget year 2026. These are the projects that we had in the current budget ready to be paved. These are the ones we didn't get on the first portion of the year that we do have funding in place for to do on the second half of the year. So we are always really aggressive on making sure that we have enough road projects ready to go so that we're never left standing around during the paving season. Now, as we go along, there are curveballs. Like this year, EOU wants to build some softball fields and really it's looking to mess up our spring really badly. So not all of these projects will likely be paved by July 1, but these are the ones that we have, scheduled to go. The ones down here below in the lower portion of the list, those are the priority ones that we've identified through inspection, complaints, just all of our different methods that we're currently using to identify bad streets. So those are the ones in the hopper that have yet to determine how we're going to fund them. It doesn't mean that there isn't money out there that we would use, but those are the ones we're currently targeting to pay. So this year we actually installed a new method of identifying roadway projects, and that would be we're now using artificial intelligence to do our roadway inspections. So in the past, we would send out our street crew who would actually physically visit different sections of roadway, and they would inspect those by measuring cracks with tape measures, write it down, and then we would use a computer program to calculate what we call the PCI, or the Pavement Condition Index. Nowadays, we have technology where you just strap the sensor to the top of your car, drive around like Google, and then it just spits out the PCI for every section of road in town. So previously, we'd send out those crews. It would take, 2 crews, probably a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks to go through town. We did, with the Google car, we did the entire town in 2 days. So You'll be seeing that come out. It's a layer in our GIS that we can put on a front facing so the public can view it on our webpage. So now when people call up and say, I have the worst road in the Grand, we can point to the tool and say, no, you don't. Look, it's over on Depot. Depot is obviously the worst street in Canada. So those are kind of the things that we have going on. As John mentioned, we kind of have different ways that we're looking at how we're going to attack our problem in streets. And one of the things that I want to bring up is that we saw after we got these AI inspections is LeGrand isn't as bad as it feels. So we all have this perception that we have really bad roads, but one of the things that we're identifying is a lot of our collectors and arterials are getting a lot of our attention. And one of the shifts that we've made in the last few years is we've stop dumping money into streets that they're not going to come back. They're bad streets, and we continue to dump a whole bunch of money into them to make them below average, but we need to just let them go. And so a lot of these residential streets where you're seeing that we have potholes, I saw Roxy give me a question look, which means I need to explain more. So we have certain streets called oil mats, which were basically a glorified chip seal that were done in 95, 97. We have about 18, 19 miles of these roads, mostly on the north side of town. We were dumping about 80% of our money for maintenance into these 18 miles of road, while the other 80 miles in town got 10 to 20% of our maintenance dollars. I mean, we can't continue that. So if you hold off, we could actually rebuild those 18 miles of road by saving the maintenance money by filling potholes. So what we've done and what you see is when you're driving down a residential road now, it's not as smooth because we're not filling as many potholes because we're saving money so we can actually fix the roads. This is one of the strategies we've used of how do you save money to fix something if you're continually dumping more money. You know, a lot of people say it's putting lipstick on a pig. We're kind of dumping the lipstick on a pig strategy, and we're fixing roads. So going back to what I was saying before, what you're finding is a lot of our collectors and arterials, when you're driving around town, are really good. I mean, they're all scoring well above what our goals were for those roadways. The bad part is when you're on your way home, you turn off those great arterials onto a horrible residential road, and that's your end user feeling. You're actually hitting a whole bunch of potholes as you pull into your driveway to get out of your car, and you're like, man, that road was horrible. This is bad. Our whole system's bad. So what I will ask you to do is, as you're driving around town, kind of pay attention to the roads that you're actually hitting. How many of them are really bad? I mean, when you're driving around, it's kind of similar, if I can use an analogy. How many drivers actually cut you off? But I know that when that one guy does, I always scream, nobody knows how to drive anymore. So use that same application to your roads and kind of take a look. We are working on it, and we'll continue to bring these lists and update them. So John's looking at his watch, so he wants it back.
You're good.
All right.
Did I get?
I think I'm sure there'll be some in question and answers, because that's usually where I talk.
Stu, you got anything you want to?
I'll just do one. Nobody can hear me, so, you know.
There you go.
Hi, Stu Spence, Parks and Recreation Director, if you didn't know that. I just wanted to do one quick update. We had some vandalism at a couple of parks over the holidays on the 30th and 31st. So there was, somebody came in and did some donuts in a couple of ball fields. So maybe you saw that in the news, maybe you didn't, but if you didn't, that happened. So just happy to report that the community, we have some leads, law enforcement's handling it, and should get those fixed. It might take up to a couple of years, but I'm happy that I did have a citizen come up and report, have a nice video, and description, and name, so I'm happy about that, and the support of the community.
All right, I don't think I'm missing anybody that's here present, am I? Oh, I'm sorry, you are here. Merle made it. They get no surprise they had a call earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna read this big old thing tonight, but I think I'll just come up and give you a few numbers. This last year we ran about 3,346 calls. Our guys did. They had 2,380 hours of training this year. They're doing a good job. They're busy, but they're staying resilient, getting things done. Our staffing is better. We're getting paramedics in paramedic school. And once we get that done and get some of these paramedics out there, it'll help just internally, it'll help with the workload and things. And so they're doing real good, and our department's doing good. We're providing the service that you guys expect. If not, give me a call, and we'll see what we can do. So thank you guys very much for your time, and yeah, there you go.
Can I have just one go back, please?
You should have it back.
One go back? Sorry, one go back. We're developing a splash pad at Pioneer Park. So if you haven't seen that either, please go online and vote, because you have till Thursday, the 15th. That's Friday, what is today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, the 15th, yeah, that's tomorrow. So go online, check that out, make sure your voice is heard on that. Yeah.
Okay. Before we go into the question and answers, one other thing I wanted to point out to everybody is over here on the table also is a couple of sign-up sheets. If you would like for us, I have a pretty growing list of people that are on a distribution list, and so when I send messages out to the community to let them know things that are going on, or to make them aware, then I just add those names to the, if you put your name on there and you want it added, then I'll add it to that distribution list, and it gives you the opportunity to know. For those that are online, when we get to the last slide, you'll see my contact information, and you can send me messages there, and I'll add you as well. With that being said, Main Street in the house, are you here? I don't think they're able to. They wanted to be able to speak a little bit about some stuff that's going on. Something came up and they weren't able to make it. Let's see. So they wanted to say some special thanks to Scott Allen and John Howard for their donation and help with the Christmas tree at Max Square. Tyson Brooks and OTEC for putting up the angels and snowflakes on Adams Avenue and decorating the tree in Max Square. Jeff Cruz and Thomas Taylor and Zipley Fiber for decorating Max Square. Goss Motors for donating the red convertible sleigh that Santa and Mrs. Claus rode in during the holiday lighted parade. Thomas Taylor and Eric Lawrence for organizing the New Year's Eve ball drop. And LeGrand Public Works, thank you, LeGrand Fire Department and LeGrand Police Department, as well as myself. I feel weird reading this now. For their continuing support of all our events. They're also, if you guys didn't know it, they just got a new director and that started this week, I believe yesterday, Allison Harvey.
How do you contact them?
How do you contact them?
Yes, I've tried. Can you have a contact?
I will say, if you're willing to give me your email, I'll make sure you get in contact with them. Okay? Yeah, I apologize. I'm not knowledgeable enough to know or understand why that's a problem.
I went to their office, but that could have been the interim time.
Yeah.
Maybe in between.
Yeah, they literally just started the position on Tuesday, so that could very well be part of the contributing factor. What I can say is on any of these, and anybody that we're speaking with, you're always welcome to reach out to me, and I'll make sure that I'll give you a warm handoff on wherever we go.
John, can I say just one thing real quick about in support of Main Street?
Yes.
So, yeah.
I promise I'll come back over to you.
So for those of you that might not understand, LeGrand Main Street is what represents the LeGrand Township, and Chamber of Commerce's Union County is going to explain what they do and the difference between them. One of the things that you may or may not, I was the president there for 3 years. One of the things you may or may not know is that because our local LeGrand Main Street is a performing Main Street, meaning that we have a full-time executive director, part of that support comes from the LeGrand Economic Development Department. Because of that, over $1 million over the last 10 years, very close to that, 800,000 or $1 million has come into building projects in downtown LeGrand because we have met that standard. So just want to be sure that you know that's a membership organization. If you are a business, they would love to have you be part of that.
That was one of those partnerships that I was talking about before that economic development has that they can leverage to help improve what's going on in economic development. We have somebody that knows good contact information for Main Street too.
Their email address is info@legrandmainstreet.org. Their phone number is 963-1223. We also have one of our staff in our media group that's a member of LeGrand Main Street, so you're always welcome to call our office too, and we can connect you with somebody.
Some things that are coming up in the near future for LeGrand Main Street, there on the screen for you to see as well. Shamrock Shuffle. And then I would like to invite the Chamber to come up and talk.
Hello everyone, I'm Sajjan with the Union County Chamber of Commerce, and we have a few events listed here, and I was looking through this, and I know we got more stuff going on in town, so I want to do a shameless plug here, and if you Google things to do in LeGrand, Oregon, Union County Chamber of Commerce's website shows up, so we're the #1 thing that people are finding when they're looking for things to do in town. And if you go to visitunioncounty.org and go to events, you can submit your events there. And that's going to be a great way to get your events to get attention. And you don't have to be a chamber member, you just have to be a part of Union County. And it'll be up on our calendar, and we'll even post on it sometimes if you request. And so we have three events happening in the near future. We have the Oregon Right to Life Education Foundation student contests. That's going to last through January 16th through February 9th. We have the 14th annual Eastern Oregon Backcountry Festival, Anthony Lake, starting January 31st. And then if you are a part of a board, or if you're an executive director that has to report to a board, and you would like them to have a little more training, there's a workshop at the Grande Hospital February 13th. And you can find more information if you go to visitunitycounty.org, click on events, you'll see all the calendar events for the year. And I highly recommend if you have an event happening in town in Union County to go ahead and list it there. Because like I said, if you go ahead and Google things to do in Grand Oregon or Union County, we'll show up first. And a little bit about the Chamber of Commerce. We are the Union County Chamber of Commerce, so we serve LeGrand, North Powder Cove, Union, Elgin, and Blair, and all the surrounding areas in our county. But we're also the destination marketing organization for Union County, meaning we get part of the transient tax to help fund our advertising and marketing services to get people from 50 miles away to come and stay as long as they can, to spend as much money as we can, as much money as they can that's coming from out of town. And so it's not just about making sure that we're supporting our local community, but it's also making sure that when people come and visit, they're spending as much money as they can, and we're getting that money back into our community. And so I'm hoping that my shout out to visitunioncounty.org and our events is going to help, and I think that's it. Oh, one last shameless plug: if you have a business and you're not a member of the Chamber of Commerce, please go to visitunioncounty.org and shoot me an email. Thanks.
I'd say that Chamber of Commerce has the best calendar for the events in LeGrand.
Outstanding. And they're easy to program something into it if you want to. Yeah. Go ahead. You have a question, Ruthie?
No, that's okay. Is there a Better Business Bureau in Grande? Would that be under you, or?
I believe that's a question maybe for WorkSource Oregon. Better Business Bureau, I've received calls for that before, but there is the Oregon Better Business Bureau, and I don't believe we have one.
I'd have to do some research on that. I don't know right now.
The best I can find is you got to go online to the state website.
It's the state website.
There's nothing local. Okay.
Nope. Any other questions?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay. I promise you we're getting close to finished. I did program it, I think, for 90 minutes, so we're actually doing pretty good, even if you're starting to fall asleep. At this point, I put up a bunch of different thought process in regards to rules, in regards to Q&A. Bottom line is I don't get the sense that anybody here is going to be overly controversial or problematic, and the intent is for us to have good conversation and exchange. And my commitment to you guys is that if you bring me a question, if I don't know it right now, I'll make sure I get you an answer. And I'll get it to you in a timely fashion. Aside from that, does anybody have any, do we have a means for people online to ask questions?
I don't think we do at this time.
Okay, all right, then anybody in the room, would anybody like to ask any questions? Thoughts? Come on, you're making this easy. Go ahead.
Who oversees the parades?
who oversees the parades. So that, I would say it's different for each organization that signs up to organize the parade. So depending on the parade would determine who the one is that commonly does it. So do you have a particular parade that you're thinking about right now?
The Veterans Day Parade?
That one was done by the American Legion. Okay. Anybody else? All right, you guys made this really easy. Well, I'm gonna, what's that? No, you had a question? Okay.
I was gonna say you're doing a good job if no one asks.
Oh, yeah. Or they're just really tired of hearing me talk. All right, so what I can tell you is that the next community town hall is going to be most likely the 22nd of April. I'll continue to provide occasional update reminders of that particular event coming out, as well as maybe as we're approaching closer to the launch of the app, send some information out. If you don't want me to send you notices, please don't ask me to put you on my distribution list, because it's going to be too hard to figure out where people are at to remove them. But if you would like those updates, then I promise you that I won't blow your email up, but I will send out occasional informationals to make sure that you have maximum opportunity to know what it is that we're doing. Before we conclude here, I'd like to finalize by saying thank you to EOU for being so gracious as to host us here, and then not charging us to be here, and committing to that being for eternity, that can be true. So I appreciate that. And if anybody wants to talk to me personally, I'm going to hang out. And please remember, it truly is all happening in LaGrande. If it's not yet, it's going to be really soon. So thank you. Have a good night.